You are watching the number one podcast in the whole entire YouTube wrestling community, and I'm one of your hosts, Wanzo.
And I'm your other host, Jean-Paul Leek.
And together we are
Robre.
Family, how's every single one of you? It is Thursday in the afternoon, and you know what time it is. You know what that means. You know, like, it's not Dynamite. We already did that. Done. Took care of that. We're going to be talking about NXT UK. Show that always, like you always mention every single time that, like, ever since they returned to do the episodes, 1 hour, easy to digest, good wrestling. Some of the matches we're going to be talking about because we kind of shit on the interferences. We kind of saw a little bit about that. So we're going to be asking Paul, you know, what does he think about everything. But family, thank you for being with us one more time. Don't forget, you know, to check us out, like the AEW Dynamite, like we mentioned. The Inner Circle addresses the Pinnacle. Nobody's giving you the finger, family. It's just these assholes. They just want to do that to MJF and everybody else. Tell me a little bit about this AEW Dynamite, Paul.
Yeah, and you know, like you and I both said, great matches on last night's show, but unfortunately, way too many interferences after pretty much every single segment. Yep. And I mean, you know, but great matches, and you know, they're really building the Pinnacle. And you know, we saw a sit-down kind of interview with Jim Ross, kind of like the old WWF days where he did the sit-down interviews. You know, they're talking about blood and guts. We saw the Inner Circle cut a promo about blood and guts. So they're really, you know, promoting that match. Unfortunately, like we keep saying, it's on free TV, which was a big missed opportunity, but pretty overall, I would say solid episode of Dynamite.
Yeah, pretty solid Dynamite. Like you said, like, the only thing, no mention of Rick Swann, no mention of the match with like Rebellion, you know, Impact is all like, oh yeah, you know, absolutely done. If we have a brand new champion, even like Kenny Omega loses to Rick Swann, nobody will even care. And they'll be, what happened? We didn't know. Like, it's already reported, Paul, that half of the people that watch Dynamite don't know who Rick Swann is.
That don't surprise me.
That tells the whole story right there. That tells the whole story. So be with us for the Rebellion. We will be covering all of that because we do know who Rick Swann really is. So, you know, let's talk about NXT UK, Paul. Like, the first match that opened the show was Joe Coffey against Eddie Dennis. This match was already advertised. So what did you think about this? You know, like the leader of Gala is going against the leader of the new, like, Hunt. So, like, a pretty good match, really contested, you know, really physical. A lot of physicality between the two. Eddie Dennis, of course, like, he's really tall but a lot skinny. You know, Kofi's more like built, more ripped. So like the power, I think it was on Kofi's side.
Oh, yeah, and commentary was even putting that over. They said, like, Joe Coffey's the brawler, the boxer type, and you have Dennis, he's more like the technical wrestler and stuff, and you even saw that. Coffey would get the advantage, Dennis would, you know, go between the ropes. He'd be like, this isn't a boxing fight, this is a wrestling match, like, you know, why are you throwing punches at me? And, you know, he's using the cravat, you know, like the headlock, all this stuff, to really try to wear him down. And I thought this was a good match. It was evenly contested because of, Eddie Dennis is a lot skinnier, but he's also taller. He has more leverage, you know, longer limbs and everything. And this was good. I like when he went for the Glasgow send-off and he dodged out of the way, hit the ring post and everything. And then, you know, when he had him up in they call it Splash Mountain, but, you know, the Razor's Edge, whatever you want to call it, right, Crucifix Powerbomb, he hit that. I actually thought he was going to win. I thought they were going to put him over and be like, oh, shit. But
should have been done, right?
Yeah, he kicked out of that, and then that was kind of like, oh, well, that's his finish, you know, so, like, clearly he's not going to win this. And then the match kept going on, and eventually, like, we saw the new Hunt. They jumped on the apron, distracted Coffey, and no DQ because they didn't get involved or anything. It was just, hey, if Joe Coffey chooses to look at them, that's his own fault. And, you know, he kind of did, got rolled up for a 2 count. Then eventually Gallus, everybody came out, big brawl and everything. And then eventually, you know, Coffey hit the Glasgow send-off. I was going to say his comeback, but, you know, the Glasgow send-off and then the best for the bells, 1, 2, 3. And this was good. And then I know you want to ask me about the interference. And I'm not going to blame this show because of what AEW does. We only saw one interference.
Yes.
And it was this. They don't do it every week, every segment. So it's fine. You can't blame, you know, NXT UK for what AEW does. So I'm fine with this because, you know, and it also didn't lead to the 6-man tag in the main event. No, They booked that for next week. You know, we'll just mention that here right now. So that I'm fine with. But, you know, if we see, you know, another beatdown next week, you know, in 2 segments, and then the following week we see it in every segment, then I'll be like, okay, what the hell's going on here? But I honestly didn't mind it here because it was needed because you knew that this was the feud. You know, you weren't just going to be like Eddie Dennis wins or Joe Coffey wins, and then, next week, 6-man tag. Like,
Yeah.
you needed to somehow get there. And I am actually looking forward to it because I feel like this is the first 6-man tag we're seeing on this brand since they restarted. I can't
Yeah.
recall another 6-man tag. So it's not like,
I can recall the one. No, actually, no, I can't. Yeah, you're right.
yeah,
I
not a
was gonna
6-man.
say
I know
that.
there was triple threats where it was,
Yes.
3 tag teams, but not 3 on each side, which,
Yes.
Dynamite does that almost every week. And, this show, it's like when they do something like that, it feels more special. So like I said, I'm not going to fault them for what other wrestling, corporations
Companies
or
or other
companies
wrestling
do. Yeah. So,
brands do. Yes, we're
yeah.
not gonna do that. I wanted your thoughts on that because it's important because we always like analyze and we want to show
Mm,
everybody that we analyze with the same set of eyes.
yeah.
It's not that we're like we have certain like part of affiliation or we don't like certain brands. We just watch.
Because at first I did think that I'm like, oh, here everybody's brawling, and I'm like, well, you know what? They don't do this really all the time, and so I really didn't hate it. But like I
Oh
said,
yeah.
if we keep seeing it, then I'll be like, okay, then I'll call them out on it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
then it's like
exactly.
who's booking Tony Khan?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But like you said, 6-man tag. We're gonna see. Like I'm thinking, it needs to be like the new Hunt, like Primate, Eddie Dennis, and T-Bone. That way they can get more leverage, and when they can, more like heat, like heel heat. They need it because Gallus is already like they're established. They don't need the win. I mean, like for the tag titles maybe, but Eddie Dennis needs something. Like he has the good ability in the mic. He's all of that. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But like you said, like we'll see. It's important to see, how
And
what
especially,
the outcome of it.
I think the heels are going to win because of what we saw afterwards. They went to the commercial break, and we come back. We see Gallus. They're walking through the hallway. They're like, "Wee!"
Yeah,
They're all celebrating and stuff. And then they're just beating on everybody's door, just like being annoying and be like, "Oh yeah, we won. We're Gallus. We're on top." Everything. And then we see Rampage Brown comes out. And then Coffee's kind of like making fun a little bit. He's like, "Oh yeah, I saw the match with Walter. Hey, he's like, tough luck there, pal. But if you ever want to do this again, let me know." And then Rampage Brown just kind of gives him a look, kind of like just smiles or just walks away. So I don't really know what they're doing. Again, it's like the intersecting feuds because it's like, are you feuding with Eddie Dennis and them? Are they an afterthought? Maybe I don't know what we're gonna see. But hopefully, if they do have another match, and it is in a couple weeks, Rampage needs to go over again. I like Joe Coffey, but I'd still, what a missed opportunity not putting the belt on him.
Well, we'll keep saying that because Walter again, like makes in both worlds, but does it feel relevant? No, because it's laws. You can again, if you're taken from the one, the other one's gonna suffer. No, it doesn't make sense.
I'm gonna take a quote from Lord of the Rings, like when I think it was Bilbo.
Frodo.
He's like, no, he's like, I feel like I'm butter spread over too much bread, very thin. That's Walter. He's spread over too much, so he's not, like you said, he's not really in one show. He's not really in the other because he's trying to be in both. So
and he floundered on both because he needs to be relevant in just one.
Yes.
Family, tell me a little bit about Ilya Dragunov. Like they keep doing the promos, they keep showing, all the videos. Like he's actually watching his own matches, and he sees the chops from Walter, and then he sees he's understanding what's going on in his head, and then you got to see how Radwell do the chop, and also Jack Stars did the chop, all of that. And then we get to see, he's understanding what's going on. Something is getting unhinged in Ilya Dragunov, and then he can actually show us our face when we watch Monday Night Raw, Dynamite, NXT. That's our face every single time. Disappointment and all of that, and we go crazy. But they keep teasing that idea of Ilya Dragunov going insane. So he's finally trying to understand himself, I think.
Yeah, this was great. I love this promo just because, like you said, he started off calm. He's just like, okay, let me watch some tape, let me watch some film. And then he sees the chops, and boom, his hand immediately goes to the back of his neck, almost like he feels like an old scar, an old wound. And it's just, he just starts, as he keeps seeing that footage, he just keeps going more and more crazy, more and more mad. And I like this, and I don't really know what they're leading to because you have a lot of guys in the title contention. Joe Coffey, Rampage Brown, Dragunov is still dominant. Maybe they're going to do some kind of fatal four-way or something to, determine the number one contender. If they do a multi-man, don't have it be the normal WWE rules where it's a triple threat, no DQ, one fall to a finish. No. Have it be a normal match and have it be elimination. Then boom, boom, boom. You can really make it. You can almost do that match the entire show because it's an hour. Give me an hour-long epic match. And, I don't know who they're going to pull the trigger on, but if it was my choice, you already didn't do it to Rampage Brown. I feel that ship is kind of sailed right now, so go back to Dragunov. He needs to be, he needs to be the champ.
Because of all those because of the chops and all of that, it only will favor the story if he's able to overcome that. And then he beats Walter, gets the championship, because that will be redemption for himself. And then
because
he
he almost
conquered the demon.
Yeah, this is the one thing we saw. Jack Stars chops him. He goes crazy. He just annihilates him. Sam Gradwell chops him. He went crazy, annihilates him. The only person who we didn't see chop, him since the match is Walter.
Yeah.
So we got to see what happens. Maybe Walter won't like the beast he awakens. So we'll just have to see.
We'll see what happens. So good stuff on that. Now let's go to like a guy that like is being featured actually very prominently, very frequent. He's on TV as Gradwell. He goes against Dave Masters, like the Bomber. So we'll see. At least, for like Gradwell, you got to see, maybe he doesn't win all the time, but he's featured constantly on the show. He's one of those guys that is every single show, maybe like small promo, maybe like a segment, a match. And this time, remember, we saw last week when he didn't open the door for him, and then this turned out to be a match, but like good stuff. And when the match was taking place, I'm like, he needs to win. This is the opportunity to give him something, at least something that he can rely on, and start, elaborating for that. And thank God he got the win. Dave Mastiff is huge, but that's the only thing he has. The Bomber is just the Bomber. No character, nothing else. Doesn't beat anybody. Jordan lost to Jordan Devlin, and it's fun because I don't think he's like that relevant in NXT UK. So like it was good. I liked it. So your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, Dave Mastiff feels a little bit lost. I think he's good for his size and reminds me of like the UK's version of Bronson Reed. So if they ever do it, next time they do a Worlds Collide, which I keep having my fingers crossed that they do another one, I'd love to see those two guys in a singles match. Bronson Reed versus Dave Mastiff. I think that would be a great match. But, this was good. Gradwell was kind of just getting his ass kicked most of the match. And, but then he Dave Masters was doing like these sentons and everything. He goes up to the top and he gets the knees up and he hurt the back. And I love the spot because you see it all the time where guys run into the corner and then they, charge, and it's like you're not hitting the ropes. I don't know why you run into the corner and you hit the ring post on your own back. Like, what does that do to get like more momentum? It doesn't make any sense. Yes. So Mastiff, he runs into the corner back first, and he sells the back injury, and then that kind of gave Gradwell the opportunity.
He was going to go for the cannonball. He was going to go for the cannonball. That's the finisher, I think, and that's like you said, that he stopped, and like you said, that allowed Gradwell to like do the finish. And did you like that? He has a pretty good finish. I like
how he picked him up in the fireman's carry, and he held him there for a while. I didn't know what he was going to do. He just held him, and commentary is like, oh my God, look at the strength. Boom, Michinoku driver or whatever you want to call it.
Or Bruce Thunderbomb.
Yeah, exactly. 1, 2, 3. And he gets the big win, and this is good for him because, like you said, this guy, he's featured. Yeah, he might lose and stuff, but whether he's heel or whatever, you got to admit he has charisma. When he talks, you listen. You either think he's funny or
he
as a heel.
Called him yogurt, right?
Yeah, yogurt. Yeah. And then I love how Mastiff called him a yogurt, and then Nigel was like, oh, I don't know, you should say that. He might be lactose intolerant, like all this stuff. And he called him a blob. I love when he called Mastiff, he's like, oh, shut up, you blob. And then Nigel goes, well, he does kind of resemble the shape of a blob. Because Nigel's heel, and he's such a great heel commentator. But this was good, and I don't know what you're doing with Mastiff, but if you need to turn somebody heel, maybe turn him heel. Maybe like, this is bullshit, blah, 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 and he can just be heel. I don't know. But we'll see what they do.
Cup needs to be featured more, like in more shows, or like you need to have a kid, or whoever gets the Heritage Cup, it needs to be like right there all the time. Because if Walter is going to be floundering in both shows, then you need at least other.
Yeah, these guys are legit. They're fighting for nothing.
Yeah, that's
which is fine. You can just have singles matches, and that's fine. But when the match is over, be like, call out a kid, be like, I keep winning matches. Where is this champion? He's hiding away doing interviews and doing all this other bullshit instead of being here in wrestling.
That's what I mean. They need that because, again, like they don't have the Cruiserweight Championship anymore either. Mm-hmm. So that's gone. The Heritage Cup needs to be the main title if Walter's going to be just in both shows. So that's the only thing that like they are giving a lot of their talent away, and then they're not actually keeping their own. They're not trying to improve themselves. So that's the problem that they have. But in the women's division, they're good. They're good. Mm-hmm. Why? Because Eva Valkyrie is on fire. She finally said she's going to get what she wanted. And that, finally the feathers, all of that. She's ready to have their moment. She wants to have that moment. The moment is ready for her. She's so excited. And next week, we're going to see, probably one of the best matches in the year, other in the women's division of NXT UK, and, in any women's division, is going to be the final boss going against Eva Valkyrie, Meiko Satomura. This is going to be amazing. I'm just so excited to see this because either Meiko, ends the streak, or Eva beats Meiko and then, go against Kaylee Ray. That's the path right there.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this, and I just love her, her promo about this. She's like, everything is leading up to this moment and all this stuff. Just, the way she talks and everything, like the promo, it's so good because it kind of gives you that like gothic feel, but it's
Yeah.
just like when she, a Valkyrie, like a winged, woman warrior, she almost believed that that's how she is or who she is because of the way she talks and all this stuff. So this is really good. I'm looking forward to this match. And I don't know if it'll be the main event. I hope it is, and I hope
it is.
I hope they give these women, kind of like the normal main event time we see on NXT UK. The last, 15, 20 minutes, let them have a barn burner of a match, and I expect nothing less.
Yes, and for example, and then Kaylee Ray will come out. Whoever gets the win, maybe you're going to do make it one
and
more
not a beat down. I know they're going to do it legit. Kaylee Ray will probably just stand on the stage, hold up the belt, and
you want it? Come here for it, baby. Well, who else wants it? Emilia McKenzie, like she had a promo. She's like, oh, I'm from NXT UK. I wrestled there for like 2 years ago. I'm coming back. It's all cool. I want to find more. I want to find more competition. I want to fight the best. That's why I'm here. And it's really cool that my mentor is Meiko Satomura because she's helping me out. She's teaching me how to be legit. She's the final boss. So good promo showcasing her ability. Mackenzie suplex, or is what it's called, I believe. So like you see, like the girl has a lot of future. Maybe not right now, but in a few years, I think she could be a superstar. Still a little skinny, So maybe like if she bobs a little bit, it will look a lot better.
Oh yeah, and the fact that she said, she was there 2 years ago, and she said in this, promo that she was only 20 years old, so she was on this brand at 18 years old.
Yes.
And out even still at 20 years old, she said she's the youngest woman on this roster, but she feels that gives her an advantage. And I think it does too. You're young, you're learning from one of the best women in, all of women's wrestling. And, you're going to be a star of this brand. So, this women's division is, again, one of the hidden gems, I think, of this brand. It's, they have a lot of talent here, and she's really good. All the matches we've seen her in so far, I've been impressed. So, I'm looking forward to, what the future holds for her. Maybe, maybe Valkyrie will go over Meiko. Maybe she'll beat down Meiko, kick her ass after the match. Maybe Valkyrie goes heel or whatever. And then you see, Mackenzie come in, and then that's a little bit of a feud because that's her mentor. Who knows what they're going to do, but whatever they do with the women's division so far, it's been, a home run. Besides our girl Piper Niven never winning the belt.
Yeah, it's true. It's true, and so we're going to talk about a little bit of the women's division right now because we had Jeannie going against Dani Luna. And, this was a pretty quick match. And just like Dani looked okay, but, we knew that Jeannie was going to go over because she has the heel heat. She has Joseph Connors right there by her side. So, Dani tried, but in the end, Jeannie was trying to, wear her down, like you said, more like submission holds, trying to, stretch those arms, getting all of that. In the end, Joseph Connors, of course, he has to do the interference. He has to, get her confused, get her out of the game, and then right away, then Jeannie took advantage of the situation, and then did, that kick that she does, and then she did, a pinning combination right there with a 1, 2, 3, and Jeannie wasn't even done with it. No, we got to see a little bit more of a beatdown, and then she did the submission hold, more pain to Dani Luna, all of that. Then we got to see Flash Morgan Webster and Mike Andrews making the save. So this was okay. At least this makes sense, And they don't, and you see they don't even get involved in the feud. And they don't touch each other. You just see, okay, we're gonna keep to protect our girl. That's it. So what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, this is fun because I think this is going to lead to a feud. It wasn't just a one-off match between Luna and Ginny, so we'll see that feud going on. And, where, Flash Morgan Webster and Mark Andrews fit into this because there's only one other guy. It's not like Ginny has two guys with her.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, but it makes sense because, like they said, she was trained by these two. So, they're coming out to help protect their student. So we'll see where this goes. But I think this is just like a mid-card feud for the women. That's really all it is right now.
More than now. They always give you something else, a little more, so you can at least have storylines going on because we haven't seen
kind of how we had exactly Xia Brookside, Nina Samuels, all that. This is kind of like in the same boat.
So we don't have that. Piper Niven is busy with Jack Starks, so another one that is right there. So they give us something at least, and Dani Luna deserves the TV time. We haven't seen also a Mel. We haven't seen a lot of the girls in the NXT brand. And Mackenzie is now back, so there's a lot of room for that. So it's fine. Yeah. So let's go with Six Scala. Like she said, he finally was able to get Kenny Williams to agree to another match with Amir Jordan. But she says, hey, you know what, man? It's gonna be no DQ. It's all right. It will be like Dynamite, arcade game. A lot of toys, all of that. Rusev will be there. Miro, it's fine. No. The loser will have to leave NXT. So
So you know.
He's like, what do you think, Dragunov? Is like, what do you think about this? So you know. So it's bad, yeah. So like it's it's a stipulation that it can change the course of like that person's like game when it comes to the match. But he says, you know what? No one's gonna take this away from me. Signs it. So in the near future we're gonna see this DQ match, and then whoever loses is gonna end up leaving NXT UK. So Paul, what do you think? Is gonna be Williams or is gonna be Amir?
I think you got to put over Amir Jordan. He lost the first match. In a feud like this, I feel who would benefit from this more would be Jordan. The babyface going over, and, a big moment for him because before he came out, the doing the dancing and shit, now he's all serious. Now he's no nonsense, and, that's good. You see that character growth. He went from like, okay, I'm just happy to be here to, no, this is my home. I got to prove my worth. Yeah, I want to stay here. So who knows what Kenny Williams is going to do? Maybe Triple H or somebody likes this guy a lot and they say, hey, cruiserweight division or whatever, you want to come to, the main NXT, or you want to maybe 205 Live, maybe he's moving to America or something. You don't really know what the backstage I shouldn't say politics, but the backstage plans are, for these guys or anything. But I'm looking forward to this match. And again, it's no DQ, but it wasn't no DQ off the bat. It took a while to get here. The story, led itself, and this is the blow-off. That's when you do a no DQ, loser leaves town, is in the blow-off match, not the first match.
That's when you add a stipulation, because you always has to culminate, to finish.
Yeah, exactly. That's why you don't start a feud at Hell in a Cell, you end it at Hell in a Cell.
And yes,
exactly. You know what I mean? So exactly. I'm looking forward to this. Yeah,
exactly. So now, debut, Jean-Paul. Rajid Rahu, no. Rojan Raha. Rojan Raha, like he's a new wrestler. He said like he has some Canadians descent, or is trained by Canadians. He's like British, like he had like all nationalities involving him. So he said this guy's gonna debut, like he's gonna debut against Theo Man. So I don't know what they're gonna do that with Theo Man, but he says, you know what, like he's been tapping out people. That's what he does, the crossface and all of that. But like one thing that he doesn't know about him is like that I don't quit. So we're gonna see what happens, but like you see a lot of intensity in this guy. We'll see what what he's able to do. But so like Rajid Rahu, no, come on. Rohan Raja debuts next week. So also Paul, like so you can hear me your thoughts on this. Theo Man talk. It's like bro. It's like really, I don't care. It's still gonna fight for my family. He's like kind of like Paige. He fights for his family. The fear. He's like, I'm gonna make them proud and all of that. And you're gonna tap out. Yeah, it's Kurt Angle here, baby. You're gonna do it crossface and done. So let me know. What do you think? Is like, are they gonna job Theo Man already, or like maybe Rajan Raha is gonna like be a one of the debuts that actually you lose when you first debut?
I think he's gonna lose in his debut, and I think this is gonna be a feud. Now, I don't know if I would have done this, but maybe these guys have history. Maybe they wrestled before, they have good chemistry. Could be like a Walter and Dragunov thing where they wrestled all over the world before coming here and stuff. So maybe they think, hey, let's keep this going because these guys will deliver a good match. But I think Theo Man needed more wins, more feud, more TV time under his belt before being in this kind of role, because he's still, to me, relatively fresh. He's still new. We've only seen him wrestle, I think, maybe twice. Yeah. So he should have had a little more.
I'm asking you because to me it's like it doesn't make sense that you put him with a guy that is relatively fresh.
Yeah, I think he needs to win. But see, there's no Rohan is a babyface, clearly, and there's no real other heels. What kind of tell me a heel that's, like lower card. Gradwell maybe, but no. But Gradwell he's moving up the ranks. There's really no low heel. So, the newest guy on the totem pole is, Theo Man. So I guess that's what they're going to do. I'm looking forward to the match just to see what Rohan Raja can do.
Yeah, exactly, because we know that he's not going to be the same as Rajid Rahu. So we're going to see something.
See Hitman.
Yes, yeah, exactly. You're right, exactly. So we'll see what happens, but like you said, I don't know why they're doing it. So I want to, after the match, I want to understand why they did what they did. So let's go let's go to the main event. Let's go with the reunion. Mustache Mountain is reunited once again. Former NXT Tag Team Champions, former NXT UK Tag Team Champions. So these guys had the match against Noam Dar and also against Samuels.
Sam Gradwell.
No, not Sam Gradwell. What is the name?
Oh, what is it? Shaw Samuels. Shaw Samuels. There we go. We'll get it eventually, family.
Yeah, exactly. They will Shaw Samuels. So Noam Dar, these all four guys have been involved in all these feuds because of the Supernova sessions. all of that.
Mm.
But like, they gave us a pretty good match. But the only thing, like, you're gonna elaborate a little more on this. But like, I'm a little upset because I wanted like Noam Dar and also Samuels to go over because they're heels. They need some kind of heat. And Masters Mountain didn't need it. So what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, this match was really good, and there was a lot of spots set up where the heels had the advantage. Noam Dar I thought looked good. Even Shaw Samuels looked good in this because to me it's like okay, and that is how it went. But it's like he's all the guys are up here and he's kind of down here a little bit. You know what I mean? So it's like he's going to be the one to eat the pin and everything. But he still even looked good in this match. But I was thinking, okay, maybe you pin Trent Seven. And then he can be like, Tyler, sorry, mate, blah, blah, blah. And then Bate loses it, kicks his ass, because I want to see a feud between them. I want to see Tyler Bate heel. I don't like him. I mean, I shouldn't say I don't like him as a babyface, but it's time for a change.
We've seen it. That's why.
Yeah, I feel like this brand needs more heels. More like legit, heels that are kind of like number one contenders. Because the real, top
heels, let's call it that.
Yeah, exactly. All the top echelon guys on this brand are baby faces besides Walter, and Walter's not even here.
Yeah.
So, which we've been saying, the whole review, we've been saying it the past how many weeks? Where's Walter? Where's Waldo? But, this was a good match, everything involved. I just wish the heels would have went over, but, Mustache Mountain looks good. Maybe they'll put them in the tag division. Maybe they'll be like, hey, we don't know what to do with these guys. Maybe they'll go against Pretty Deadly, something like that. We'll have to wait and see. But, as long as Trent Seven's featured, because Trent Seven's, he's one of my guys. He's one of my boys, the little, we got to do the mustache, And as long as we keep seeing him, I'm good.
I wouldn't mind, like, even if Trent Seven will go heel on Tyler Bate. Let's say he's about to win the Heritage Cup, and he's like, "No, mate."
See, I would rather see Trent Seven be the face because the way that this show books, the baby face usually goes over in the end. So I want to see Trent Seven go over.
But at least because that will add more depth, more character, like to Trent Seven, and because to me, a lot of people like not us, but like a lot of people just sees like Trent Seven as the psychic of Tyler Bate because Tyler Bate has all the accolades, all the good matches, and Trent Seven is like just a great wrestler, but genetic. He's genetic, never shown. So, like, to me, at least with that, you like give him like their own personality. It's like, hey, I was part of that, but now I'm my own person. But like, did you like the finish? What is like the bull? It's not the bull hammer. It's like what is
the burning hammer? They did the assisted burning hammer. Oh, I mean, it was good. And when Tyler Bate dove to the outside at the end, I thought that would have been the opportunity that maybe they throw him into the barricade instead of him hitting the dive, and then Trent Seven's all by himself, and then they get the pin on him or something, but. It didn't go that way. The baby faces, like I said, they hit the dive, they went over, assisted burning hammer and everything. And it was a great match. I did, me personally, I'm not going to be like, this match was bad because the heels didn't win. It's just my personal preference. I would have liked to see the heels win, especially for Noam Dar. I think he should have won the match with Tyler Bate. He should have beat A-Kid and all this stuff. So I don't know. And that's the thing is, speaking of A-Kid, we mentioned it before. We need to see these champs next week.
That's what I mean.
No Pretty Deadly. No Walter, no A-Kid.
You need the presence of your champs, and I know they probably tape so many episodes in advance. It makes sense because like pandemic restrictions, all of that in the UK. So probably they have one set of guys. They do the test. Hey, you're good to go. Let's record. So like maybe then next time is all set of guys. So it's always different. Maybe Gradwell is the only one COVID-free that like he's always on every single show. But like you said, is right. You need the champion's presence. You need the title.
And see, that's what it shouldn't be like a pattern, but it should be 1 week. Okay, here's the tag champs, and then maybe A-Kid in the main event. And then next week we see Walter. And then maybe the following week we don't see any champs. And then the week after that, here's Kaylee Ray. And then, boom, here's A-Kid again. And then, here's even if we only saw Walter once every 2 or 3 weeks, at least when you were going to see him because it's like, where is he?
No, and that's because also he wins, he beats Rampage Brown. We don't hear from the guy. We don't even hear if he's celebrating, or we don't hear if he's pissed. It was a great match, or I beat him.
And there's there's not even Imperium on the brand to be like, Walter is defeating Pete challengers all over the world. They could just make up some bullshit story. There's not even Imperium. Nothing. So like again, there's no presence from the world heavyweight champ.
And that is really taken away from the show. It's hurting the show a little bit, like you said, no champions. So that's the only thing that we have.
The only time you see Walter is when you watch Rope Break and you look up at the top there.
Exactly.
That's the only time you see Walter.
Because not even on NXT, completely done. So we'll see what happens with it. Hopefully next week will be a little better.
Yes.
The women's, Satomura against Valkyrie is going to be amazing. So that for me is going to be, I'm going to be looking forward to that for the rest of the week. So family, thank you so very much for being with us. Don't forget to subscribe. Help us out. We know we're going to get to that 1,000. We want to see 1K. We want to see that 1K, so please help us out. Hit the bell for notifications. Also give the video a like so it goes to the moon. The rankings, everybody is more exposed to Road Break. So where else, Paul?
And make sure you follow us, Rope Break on Facebook, the OG Rope Break on Twitter, Original Rope Break on Instagram, and of course right here on YouTube, the home of the #1 podcast in the YouTube wrestling community.
So family, tomorrow, is live. It's live. It's Friday, and you know what that means. No, we're not going to be JR. We love the guy. So it's going to be live, Facebook, YouTube. Be with us for SmackDown. So we'll see you then, family. You and me have one more thing that is left to say, and that is...